Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It is March 3rd, and welcome to this has finally got the official name, the O'Rourke Report. Try to keep it nice and simple. And I was just thinking about this. The only thing I didn't do is see if anybody else had that name. Hopefully not. I don't think O'Rourke is that common a name. I mean, a lot of people know the name. I always used to attribute it to Sergeant O'Rourke from F Troop, but there are not many O'Rourkes, at least not where I grew up. So, anyway, let us start. We're going to start with this one particular site that I do watch on YouTube. I do watch it as long as I can stand it because then I'll explain that. But I don't know what the name of the site is, but if you put Lady Collin Campbell, she'll come right up and you'll recognize her. She's often quoted whenever there's a royal story because she professes to have all this inside track. She also has a very strange accent. Now she claims it's upper crust British, but none that I've ever heard. She has said, well, it might have something to do with me being born in Jamaica. Well, I don't think it has anything to do with you being born in Jamaica either. She also has this tortured syntax. It's like, oh, she can't even finish a sentence. She stares off into space and rolls her eyes, and then she comes back with something that made no sense to whatever the beginning of the sentence was. Still, she is interesting to watch. Her one big thing, though, that you can be guaranteed every single show, and I think she posts every day, is she will have something that will be bashing Harry and Meghan, most specifically Meghan. I mean, she just bashes her, and so from if you're into that sort of thing, she is somebody you'll probably get a kick out of. So crazy accent, tortured syntax, bashing Harry and Meghan. um, the, the other thing that she has, which she's a woman of a certain age. I did look up her age before to make notes for this, and she's 74 years old, which is, I'm not in the same category, but I'm in the same ballpark. Um, and she has this long, blonde, flowing, very dry, it's not too flowing, blonde hair. I mean, she doesn't even wear it out. She should put it up in a chignon or something. I mean, to me, it just doesn't work. But she insists upon it and she has it. And, I've often said that for women of a certain age, and like I said, it includes me. You should always ask yourself, what would Anna Wintour do? Because Anna really knows how to get it done. And she is a woman of a certain age. So she is our spirit animal. We should follow her guidance on all things. And that does not include long, dry, blonde hair. Okay, Lady C, listen up. I did finally get to watch Summer House, and it did not disappoint. It was a extended episode. We had Lindsay and Carl showing up. They'd not been there. I don't think that they were there for the first weekend. They're here now for the second weekend. And Lindsay goes into the house. She knows she's lost the upper hand here, because she used to rule that house with an iron fist. And if you got in her way, there was a reason Paige used to spend the summers hiding in her bedroom. She was hiding from Lindsay because Lindsay is overbearing. So Lindsay goes into the house knowing she's probably not going to get away with being overbearing. She needs to test the water and find out where she can find a crack so she can work in there. So she's very quiet and doesn't really try to Bigfoot over anybody. So apparently, later that evening, the teams break up. They go into two different cars to a nightclub. Lindsay is in the car with all the guys, and all the other girls are in another one. So No cameras are running, so we don't know what happened, but we do hear that Lindsay pitches a fit in the car and claims that Carl was completely rude to her. Now, after this incident, the producers interview each one of the guys who are in the car to say, hey, what happened in the car? What did Carl do? None of the guys know what she's talking about. And this was not a bros before hoes situation. I didn't get the sense that they were protecting Carl. Um, my sense was they truly had no idea what set her off, but set off she was. To the point when she got back to the house, she used that as an excuse to ramp up her outrage more and more as she's using Danielle as her sounding board. Danielle's back to being the lapdog for Lindsay. And she makes inferences that Carl was on something. Now, Carl is sober. You see him throughout the episode. There's absolutely no change in his demeanor. There's nothing manic about his behavior. There's no indication of cocaine and booze or whatever it is Lindsay was implying or inferring that he was using. So I thought that was really unfair and kind of not a great thing to do to your fiance. So that was kind of it. One more. Well, I will say one very, very small thing. The new guy, Wes, boy, oh boy, he is one of these effortless guys that women just plain love. And I'm not talking about like last year, whoever that guy was that went out with that girl, the one that was Craig's college friend. I thought he was a little he's not any sort of guy a girl should go out with. I mean, he just is a user and a poser and a player. But this guy Wes is just the type of guy that women love, and he's funny and he's cute and he's intelligent, and he is going to very quickly move into number one guy status. I hope he does. I'm feeling good things about him. So one more thing about Summer House, but it's all of these shows in particular. And then this is a plea to the producers of these programs. Please stop with the forced gaiety. When like there's a party, like Summer House always has a Fourth of July party or some party in the backyard where all these people show up. I have no idea who they are. They just town people. I mean, do they all know each other? There seems to be an awful lot of them. I can't imagine that they're all city friends. I mean, who wants to make that 3 hour drive out to the Hamptons? Nobody wants to do that unless they're staying out there. So anyway, the forced gaiety. The producers will show these, 2 second blasts to indicate frivolity and fun, and everybody's jumping in the pool. They're waving their hands, and they're going woo woo woo. Nobody runs around waving their hands, go woo woo woo, do they? I don't remember anybody doing that back in the day when I used to go out and have frivolity. Um, God, it's cringy, and I wish they would stop doing that. So, Summer House, please, no more forced gaiety. Wes, number one guy, and Lindsay is ramping herself up to a classy Lindsay Hubbard. It's going to be very interesting to watch it to the end. And the season opens with that scene with them breaking up and her on the phone to her father. So she feels like she was blindsided. How she feels she was blindsided, based upon just the little bit we've seen so far for this season, is beyond me. I mean, I know she watches these shows. I know she watches herself. I don't know where the disconnect is, but it's there. Okay. Did I? No, I have not mentioned this one. This is one of my favorite shows on YouTube. It's called The Behavior Panel. And it is a panel of body language experts, experts in interrogation, experts in really reading people. And they have all sorts of bona fides which they present to you in the program. And I don't remember off the top of my head. I do believe one of the panelists, he's the one who comes across as the moderator more so than the other three gentlemen, has some affiliation with Dr. Phil. And in fact, he has that very easy, soothing voice that it just kind of makes you believe everything he's saying. It is a great watch, and it's very simple. They have there's a screen set up kind of Brady Bunch, one guy in each corner. They go in rotation on their take. They'll play a 3 or 4 minute snippet from an interview that you've probably seen, like this. Speaking of Harry and Meghan, they used the Oprah interview with Harry and Meghan, an analysis on that, body language when Meghan says this or Harry says that, what that might mean. They don't tell you what anything means. They give you a suggestion what that type of behavior means to them. And as experts in their field, two of them are ex-military interrogation experts. They probably know what they are. They're probably pretty accurate, I'm guessing. They're also nonpartisan. You don't get any idea of what their politics are. You don't get any idea, and I love that because I don't care what anybody else's politics are. I don't believe in the partisan news channels, and the partisan news channels to me are, if you're of one ilk, it's Fox. If you're the other ilk, it's MSNBC. If you're the same type of person, you're looking for someone to tell you that they agree with you, and for you to agree with them, they're not giving you any news. They're just making you feel better about yourself, I guess. I don't know what they do, but they are. Partisan news is destructive. If you want the news, just go to the AP wire. That's where the news comes in. That's where all these partisan channels get their subject matter. They get it from the AP news wires for what happened in the world, and then they take it and they put their spin on it. So if you want to do away with the spin, just watch the AP Newswire. Another good one is BBC News, but I think there might be a little underlying prejudice in the BBC. The AP Newswire, there isn't. So anyway, the behavior panel, it's great, always entertaining. They do everything. They do police tape interviews. They'll do an analysis on that. They'll take interviews of current cases. Let's say there was a terrible one the other day. It was a young couple. Their child was missing, and they were doing a news conference beseeching the public to help them find the child. And I think the child was eventually found, and I think eventually the father was arrested and convicted. But so they'll analyze that behavior to see, what clues they may get from that. And they did Ghislaine Maxwell. She interviewed with an Australian journalist from her jail cell, which was fascinating. Immediately, I mean, she doesn't pull any punches when she's talking in this thing, and she says that she believes Epstein was murdered, as does everybody who ever knew him closely. Says that there's no way that guy, took a bed sheet and committed suicide. So we're never going to know. But that was interesting, the behavior panel. And let me see, what do we have? Real Housewives of Beverly Hills here. Couple of things. The Kyle and Mauricio breakup, they got to figure it out. They got to work this out. I think I think Mauricio may have done something, obviously has done something that hurt Kyle. And coupled with the horrible shock she got the year before with the suicide of her friend, which kind of knocked the pins out from underneath her. I think this is something that she and Mauricio can figure out and resolve because there are kids involved, there's long-standing involved, and I think there's genuine love and affection between the two. No, I'm not a huge Kyle fan, but I'm a huge Kyle and Mauricio fan. So please, I hope that works out. And the other thing I want to say on that subject is, come on, what's a 55-year-old woman doing hanging out with a 28-year-old girl? If it was your daughter, yes, I could see it. But to claim you have something in common, what did you go back in time? You regressed. I mean, you probably don't have anything in common with this 20-year-old. I did hear somewhere, and I never heard it well. I never heard it verified, so I'm not going to say it. Um, but really, I'm not buying the 55-year-old Beverly Hills socialite with the 28-year-old country singer. Just not buying it. And I think that's all I have for today. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, and enjoy the rest of the day.